Have you ever wondered how to make a skull look like it's had a bit of an accident? If you have, that's what we're going to be playing around with in this video and trying to make these. So let's get straight to it, and thank you Let's Resin for sending me the mold and the chrome powders to make these possible. So let's get straight over to that workshop and get these skulls made. Yes please. So here we go guys, welcome back to CCUK Resin, and I've been playing with this effect and I absolutely love it on these skulls. And I played with it in a previous video, and some of you said that you wanted me to do a video on how I've created this effect. So I've got two so far. And I think they're both slightly different, but they both came out really cool and I absolutely love them. So we're going to try and recreate it. And the inspiration came from Let's Resin. So thank you to Let's Resin. They did send me these products, full transparency. So they sent me their large skull mold, which is that one. And they sent me some chrome powders. And the great thing about that is I've seen lots of different videos with these and I wanted to incorporate them both into one video. And I think it really worked, guys. So that's what we're going to recreate. I'm going to get gloved up, mix up some resin, and we'll be right back. So we are back, guys, and I've just mixed up 300ml or about 10 ounces of resin. And I am using a standard 1:1, and you probably shouldn't with a mold this size. You should probably use deep pour, but I like to push the boundaries a little bit. So I've already picked out a couple of these chrome powders, which I'm going with the red and the silver for this. And then what I'm going to be using for the colours is the Let's Resin Ocean White, but also some resin dyes from Let's Resin, which will give us, these aren't alcohol inks, they're slightly different, and I've used them in things like Larimer, got some really cool effects. So I'm going to try those out, and I've picked out 4 different colours. So I've got peacock blue, I've got blue violet, sapphire blue, and I've got red. So they're the colours that I'm going to be using with that ocean white to create hopefully the same sort of effect. Now I've also got some intense colour shift chameleon flakes, and I thought just to make this one different from these two, let's add some of those as well. But I'm not going to be burnishing them in or anything like that because that's not what this is about. So I've mixed up the resin. I think it's time to pretty much get going, and these do hold about 10 ounces of resin. I think it's 9.5, 10 ounces of resin. And I do work in ounces, guys, so sorry about that if you don't like ounces. But all I'm going to do is split some of this resin up into the separate cups. And I've got to be conscious of time at the minute because it's quite warm in the UK at the minute. And the last thing I want is a flash cure. Here we go. So these are going to be my colours, predominantly. And then I may choose to use the rest of that with a different colour to fill it all up. I'm not sure yet. I'm one of those creative people where I just do it as it goes and see what happens. So, to get this effect, what I'm going to do first of all is just get a mica scoop. Now, I don't want to use a lot of this because I want the rose red to be the main colour. In the centre. Oh, maybe I don't. Let me pick a different colour. That's rose red. I think I want the standard red because the rose red is more of a pinky colour. Hang on. Let's swap that. There we go. So the standard red is more of a blood colour for me. And this bit is dead straightforward. All I'm going to do is get a mica scoop of this red, he says, and then we're going to put it in, and that's the simple part. But look at this for a colour as well. It's beautiful, that lovely red colour. So all I'm going to do is literally get a mica scoop. I don't want too much, but I want enough, and I'm just going to literally drop it in to the skull mould. like that. Now, if you want to get all pretty with it and make separate designs, you can, but I like the random effect that I don't know what this is going to look like until it's done. Now, what you will find with the mica as well is because you're not mixing it with the resin, you may get a bit of a pattern like this, but you can always go over it with UV at the end if you want. I actually quite like the effect. Makes it look like it's been in a real collision. So that's one of the chrome powders. Next, I'm going to go in with a bit of the silver and just do exactly the same, but on top of that red. Probably half a scoop is all I'm using. There we go. And that's all I'm going to do with that for now. Pretty straightforward. And it's all about, I think, where you position it in the skull and the way that the resin moves when it's in that skull. So next I'm going to mix up some ocean white, and I'm going to do it quite opaque for me, and put about 3 drops in, I think. So that's 2. I'd say that's 3. So it should be a bit more opaque than what I use in my blooms. And I want it deliberately to be a little bit more opaque. And in fact, let's get the rest of the colours mixed at the same time. So, this is that peacock blue. Always shake your colours, whether it's dyes, alcohol inks, anything like that. And I'm going to go with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 drops of each colour, I think. So that's that one, which is the peacock blue, which is lovely. Then I've got the blue violet, which is more of a purple, I would say. So again, just 10 drops. Then I've got the sapphire blue, which is a beautiful rich blue. You do want pretty dark colours for this because the white will make them lighter. I think that's 10 drops. And then, of course, the beautiful red. So here we go, the bright red. Hopefully the blood red. And what I'm going to do with this, I know it's not an alcohol ink, but just because I've got it out, I'm going to put a drop directly on the mica. Okay, maybe 3 drops. Come on. I don't know if that'll have an impact or not, but it'll be interesting to see. I love mixing around these experiments and seeing what we get. So, pretty straightforward. Let's mix up the colours first. And you want to make sure that the colours are thoroughly mixed, guys, so they're not just sat on the sides or on the top. And you get a nice, consistent, beautiful, rich colour like that. Look at that. A couple of seconds, all it takes. Go around the sides and the bottom of your cup like you always would. And then just wipe your stick in between. Always wipe that stick. There we go. Oh, I haven't chosen the chameleon flake yet either. So this is that beautiful red, which is a bright red. And again, it takes a few seconds just to mix it all around. Make sure it's going from top to bottom in that resin and you've got a consistent colour. Now, I am going to try these with some more solid colours as well in a future experiment. But I just wanted to do it with the transparent because I know that that worked last time. So that is the red. Now for the blue. And I'm doing it, you can probably see, on like a plastic chopping board. And the reason why is I've got a few projects that I want to get done today. It's not easy keeping all this content coming for you guys. So actually, whilst you're here, do me a favour. If you're liking any of the content, like and subscribe to the channel. Costs you nothing, but it helps us grow. And massive thank you to all of those members as well that make it all possible. And memberships are open, guys. So if you want to join membership, it's a great way to support the channel for the price of a coffee. And what happens is every month you go into a free prize draw where one of the members wins a piece of my art shipped to them wherever they are in the world, free of charge. And it's just a fun way to support the channel for the cost of a coffee. And it means that we can keep doing these experiments and keep growing and learning together, you know, and hopefully coming up with some new effects in the process that we all like. So there we go. Some very different colours there, and I don't know how they're going to all intermix, but that's part of the fun of resin for me, is you never know until you try. And this is hopefully going to give us quite an opaque white once it's mixed through. And again, this is the Let's Resin Ocean White that I'm using for this experiment. And all of these products, guys, should be available on the UK Let's Resin shop as well as on Amazon. So I deliberately wanted to use products that I know you can order in the UK. And if you want a discount code to get yourself some money off, I've got one for you, which is CCUK, and you'll get yourself some money off. So this mould, all of the colorants I'm using, everything is available on the UK as well as the US site. So and the discount code will work on both. So now it's the fun part. In fact, no, it's not, because I'm going to add just a few of these flakes in there. I don't know why, but I just saw them at the side of me when I was getting prepared for the project, and I thought, do you know what? Let's add something extra to this. And I'm going to go, I think, with these ones, which I think are really colourful and bright. I think they're nebula or blue or something like that. So again, I'm not going to burnish these in, which is what you're supposed to do with these. I'm just going to get a few with my microscope like that. Again, half a scoop, and that's just going to go in there. That's it. And then we get to the fun part, which is the pouring part. And I think I'm going to start off with the white, and all of that is going in there. So here we go. Are we ready? Let's move that out the way, and in we go. And obviously that's going to mix up those micas a little bit more, move them around. There's the white. Beautiful. Now, which colour do I go in with next? I think it's got to be the red, hasn't it? And again, just if you're struggling with pouring, just squeeze your cup a little bit and it gives you more of a pouring angle. And again, I'm just going straight into the centre. And hopefully this is almost creating a bit of a Larimer effect in the skull. I know it creates a cool effect from the previous projects, but now I think I'm going to go in with the blues, lightest to dark. So let's go in with the peacock first. And again, they're all just going straight into that centre. Not leaving any time in between. The resin hasn't heated up or anything like that. Before anybody asks any questions, this is pretty simple. Once you've mixed those colours, you're just pouring it in. It is as simple as that. And then hopefully what you're doing is a bit like the Larimer effect. You're pushing that white out every time. And that's what should create those cool effects. And now I'm just going to top it up with the clear. Simple as that, which I've got at the side. Again, it's almost creating that push effect that you would get if you were doing the Larimer. Oh, we have a problem. I'm not sure if I've mixed enough resin here. Right, if ever you do this, guys, and you've not mixed enough, don't panic. Grab yourself some resin and mix up that extra ounce. So maybe I underestimated my millilitres because I normally work in ounces, so I don't think it's going to need a lot. Just a tiny bit to top it up, and I think we should be good. So again, don't panic. This is just over 50 mil, and then I'm going to do just over 50 mil. So there we go. That's about another 100 mil. That should keep us enough. But that's the important thing. Do you know, if you've undermixed, don't panic. Just mix up a little bit more resin. Everything will be fine. I promise you, the amount of times I've had to do this because I've undermixed or not had enough resin for the project, you wouldn't believe. So again, just mix it around, making sure that all of that resin's mixed. I'm not going to put this back through the debubbler because actually if I get a couple of bubbles in it, I'm not going to be too upset. And the resin I use pretty much degasses anyway pretty well. In fact, just stir it around for 1 more minute and then we're good to go. So I'll speed this up. Right, now do I put a colourant in it as well? Let's go with a bit more of that red, why not? It's because we've got it out. Just to add something to it. And then this should hopefully top up this skull beautifully. And again, just make sure you're scraping those sides so it's all thoroughly mixed. And in we go. And what it's going to turn out like, nobody knows, including me. There we go, that's definitely full now. I didn't even need half as much as that. So what I'm going to do, I've got a starfish mold by the side of me. I'm just going to use the rest of it in there. And you know what? One thing I haven't tried with this is what happens if I mix some resin dye, a bit like I do with alcohol inks. Might as well try that on the same experiment. Why not? We've got the spare resin. In there, so I want to see if it kind of does what alcohol ink does, where it sort of disperses as you pour the resin in for this. So we will see. And always have spare molds at the side, guys, because you never know. Look at that, I've still got extra. So I can probably get a keyring out of this as well. Have I got a keyring mold at the? In fact, I've got this pot. A little pot mold, so I'm going to do that as well, I think, hopefully, if there's enough. If not, we'll just have a lid. And this pot mold is gorgeous, but it's a nightmare for bubbles. I'm going to try and get one without bubbles this time. It's now the 3rd time I've used the mold, so hopefully starting to learn how to use it, and I've still got a tiny bit of resin left. But this is going to be almost a transparent pot, which I've always used opaque colours in the past, so it'll be interesting just to see how that works. There we go, I am happy with that. So all I'm going to do, I've got a little silicone tool where I just want to go around the edges this time, because this is what I always forget to do with this mold. Just to tempt any bubbles out, and do the same for the lid. Hopefully this way it prevents any of those bubbles which you might get. And I think this is going to be a cool experiment, guys. That starfish is looking interesting already, and so's the skull. I'm just going to torch off any excess bubbles. Cured within a couple of hours. We can demold, and then we'll be good to go. So I'll see you in a couple of hours for demold. So here we go, guys. Been a couple of hours, taking these out of the curing machine, and they feel cured to me. So we're going to start off with the extras before we get onto the skull. But once again, thank you, Let's Resin, for sending me the mold to play with, and also those transparent dyes and those chrome powders. I'm going to be playing a lot with those. And don't forget to use my discount code CCUK if you want some money off. So let's go with the starfish first. Wow, look at that. That has turned out really cool. A little bit of overpour, but I can get rid of that. Simple as that. Look at that. Beautiful. And this is one of my favourite molds at the minute for spare resin. And it's just the diamond mold starfish. But there we go. So there's that one. Put that to one side. Next, I'm going to do this little jar mold, and hopefully I haven't got a bubble this time, and it'll be the first one that I've achieved without a bubble if it hasn't. Oh, there's one in the edge. One little bubble obviously caused that little hollow part there, but look at that. These beautiful flowers, if you can see, just in the lid. And let's get the main event out as well, which is this little jar, which has got that beautiful pattern going all the way around. Focus. Look at that. Beautiful. So works. I think this is a tooth fairy box. That's what I call it, where you can give it to your child. They can put the tooth in like that. And then the tooth fairy will come, take the tooth and put a couple of pound coins in there. There we go. So little tooth fairy box. Beautiful piece. And now for the main event, which is the skull. Has it worked or not? Let's find out. And again, fully cured. Just going to try and demold a little bit, and it works a bit if you just manage to get the edge, pull it round a little bit and loosen it up like so. And then I always find it's easier to do it from the back forward, so I try and fold it like so. And then we'll see if it's worked. Here we go. And out the face. So it's out the mold, definitely cured. So that's a good start. And look at this. Hello. Wow. Look at that. Turned out really cool. Again, it's got that blunt force trauma on the front of the head. And every one of these turns out slightly different. I like the flakes in it as well, how they've sort of come down the side. Absolutely beautiful little skull with that technique. Let me know what you think in comments. And he's going to get listed on my website for somebody to buy and give him a new home, or her. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you can, join membership. And I'll see you on the next video.